And here we are live betting in the break here on Winners and Whiners, where, well, this show is all about getting you well if you're down from earlier today and helping you figure out what to do with all that extra money that you have now if you're up. Because we all know bettors say, yeah, this is it. That's all I'm doing today. And then, no, they're going right to the ATM when they lose. And when they're winning, no, I'm going to take this money and take everybody out for a nice steak dinner. No, they're rolling it right back into the bets on the night games. So betting in the break, that's the idea of the show. We're glad to have Sniper West here. You can find his stuff at Winners and Whiners. You got a bunch of stuff behind the paywall for tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, huge card. I think I have 7, maybe 8 NFL plays. I lost count, and that could be scary when you're betting that many NFL games. But there's a lot of opportunity, and we have a lot more data now, so I fired away.
I've got 5 behind the premium picks at Winners and Whiners tomorrow on NFL. I am done for the day in college football today. I don't have any more premium picks, so I'm free to talk about all these games. And I'm 2-1. I lost on Pitt. Yeah, man, it's a bad beat when you lose by 1 and the team wins. I had a -3. They're winning easily on the point spread all game and then end up winning by 2. So just annoying. But I know you had it on the money line, so you win and I lost on that one. I guess I should have laid the juice.
Yeah,
I
lucked out.
Scott Keyport, he is the manager of the friendliest sports book here in the Pacific Northwest, Little Creek Casino Sportsbook. Scott, glad to have you here.
Nice to be here. It's one of my favorite weekends, a Hawaii home game. So I know when the book is running late at night, we're going to have something on the TV. Get to watch something at 8:00 at night besides SportsCenter highlights.
What are the hours of a sportsbook manager?
We close. Our sportsbook closes at 10:00 at night, and I think that's probably pretty standard for a sportsbook. They don't stay open all night like the rest of the casino.
Right.
So we try to wrap up around 10:00.
All right. So let's get into some games right away because we have 12 minutes until the 4:30 games kick off. I will roll through mine because they're sort of short in terms of what I have to say about a bunch of these. First of all, let me go to the big game tonight, Ohio State at Oregon. Look, the Ducks have not been dominant. They haven't had that high-flying offense we're used to seeing. A couple of times already this season, they've had to escape with close wins when they've been heavily favored. I don't see many weaknesses in Ohio State's game, if any. Offense, defense, 2 great running backs, maybe the best receiving core in the country. They've got a couple great pass rushers. They have a couple great defensive backs. They have it all. And I just think they outclassed the Ducks tonight in Eugene by at least a field goal, which is all that they're laying. Sniper.
So I do have a premium play, but I'm just going to give it out here because it's already gone off the board. So I have the under in this game. So I actually released it at under 53.5, and it went up to 55, which I actually do not like that line movement. I could have got 55, and I played 53.5 earlier in the week. But I don't know. I still like the under. I mean, Oregon, obviously, they haven't been covering very many spreads, and they haven't been blowing people out. But the reason for that, I don't think they're showing the playbook. They wanted to keep, the playbook a secret for this game versus Ohio State. So I think you're going to see all kinds of trick plays. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just think there's NFL players on both sides of the field defensively, and I just think it's going to be a lower scoring game than most people think, although the line movement disagrees with me.
Penn State just knocked off USC.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I lost on that.
What was the final score there? Was that 3 or 6?
3.
33-30. Yeah, it was 33. They won 33-30. I laid 4.5 earlier in the week, and then I think it closed at -3.5. Scott, am I right?
I didn't catch the closing line on that one. So I think that sounds, I think that's where we had it.
I believe it was -3.5. So USC covered.
Minnesota at UCLA, a week after upsetting the good LA team in Minnesota, which I wrote this earlier today before USC lost. The Gophers come west to play the bad LA team, UCLA. It's funny. A good friend of mine who has season tickets his dad went to UCLA. He went to UCLA. He was talking to me the other day, and he said, the problem is they don't even look like they know what they're trying to do on the field, which is if deconstruct that sentence. That's bad. It's one thing to not look like you know what you're doing, but to not look like you know what you're trying to do, it's a problem. Yeah. I just think Minnesota's a better overall team. They've got better overall athletes. I think they're going to dominate in the trenches. And 5.5 isn't scaring me. Do you have a premium play on that one?
I do, and I'll just give it out right here because it's off the board. So I disagree with you. I like the Bruins here. I'm going to plug my nose, and I'm going to bet ugly. The reason why, two big reasons. Number one, Minnesota's in a big letdown spot, right? Just beat USC, gigantic win for them. So I think they're just going to take a big exhale. And I think they have a letdown here. And I know the Bruins are terrible. I'm with you on that. But they would love nothing more than to beat the team that just beat USC, right? Their arch rival. So they have a lot of motivation here, and Minnesota with the letdown spot. And I'm going to plug my nose. Sometimes you got to bet ugly, and this is betting ugly, but I'm taking UCLA in the points here.
Okay, Ole Miss, LSU. I've been riding big spreads with Ole Miss all season. I've won all of them except for one. Now they go to LSU in prime time to take on the Brian Kelly-led Bayou Bengals. LSU can light it up on offense. We know that. But the defense is shaky at best. Meanwhile, Ole Miss has the explosiveness on offense that we expect of a Lane Kiffin team. But the difference is this year they've got a really good defense and they have a power running game with that ginormous Derrick Henry sized running back that they have. And here's the other X factor. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I got to watch Brian Kelly up and close for a long time. I do not trust him in big primetime games. Sorry, I don't trust Brian Kelly. Wes?
So I like, again, I'm betting ugly here, but I like the over in this game. Okay. I released it at 61. No defense. I released it at 61.5. It's 6 at 64. So I got great line value there. I just think there's going to be points. We know that Ole Miss wants to throw it all over the field. I think they're going to do that. LSU, and like you said, Brian Kelly, it's hard to trust him, but I do kind of think they open up the playbook. This is a huge rivalry game. Mississippi, LSU, they're right next to each other, obviously. I just think there's going to be points. And obviously, the line movement here does agree with me, so I like the over.
And for that game, we have a heavy ticket count with the money line on LSU, but the handle is all on Ole Miss. So that looks like you got the public pushing LSU and the sharp money coming in on Ole Miss. That's kind of how it's shaping up for us.
Well,
and we're big Oregon Duck fans. Oregon Duck fans tonight.
So that would make me the sharp money. So that's fine with me.
You are the sharp.
I am the sharp money. Marshall. Now, I am not a guy that normally is looking at Marshall or Tulane or some of these teams of that area of the country. That's more of David Delano's thing. But Marshall jumped out at me because they're 5-0 against the spread. And Wes, how much I weigh good teams against the spread and bad teams against the spread. I'll just tell everybody, one of the things that I do every week is I look at who's covering and who's not covering. And if I can find a matchup where it's somebody who's covering like 70% of the time against somebody who's not covering 70% of the time, I'm circling that game. Because the fact is, folks, you can't bet every game. If you are, you're crazy. The sports books are going to eat you alive. You have to pick your spots, bet teams that you know, bet teams that you're following. Now, don't bet your fandom. But if you don't know anything about a game, you should not be betting it. So I did my research, and here's what I've got. Like I said, Marshall's 5-0 against the spread. They've got a high-powered offense that can score a lot of points. They lean heavily on the running game. A high-powered offense with the running game. So like Army. By the way, the only team that is scoring more on the ground than them is Army. Georgia Southern had a nice win last week. I think they're getting a little too much respect because of that. They're tied at the top of their conference. But the conference isn't great, and it's not like they're undefeated. They can score 31.6 points a game is what they average, but they also allow 32 points per game. So their defense is terrible. I like the team that can run the ball consistently and play defense, and that's Marshall -1.5. Although I think this game started out with Marshall catching points. Scott, do you know the line movement on that? Am I correct?
I have it at -1.5. So
okay.
I don't know if it started higher than that. The sheet that I printed out, I think, is from Thursday. So
okay, yeah, I think Marshall might have started on the other side of that. I think you go ahead, Scott.
Oh, this one. So we have a huge number of the handle on the point spread for Georgia Southern. And the thing I will say that I just noticed today, so since they're the underdog, is there were two other games that were sort of underdogs covered, and then it was with the under. So if somebody doesn't trust your Marshall pick and they want that underdog, they might want to pin it to the under, because that seems to be a trend that was coming through at least today.
And I think you told me, Wes, that you really didn't have anything on the Marshall game, right?
Well, I'm taking a look at the numbers right here, and I mean, they did just beat Georgia State 38-21. They lost 52-13 to Ole Miss, but that's an SEC team, so that's forgivable. Yeah. They did, though, back in week 0, they beat they lost to Boise State by 11. It was 56-45. Talk about a lot of points, but it was only 11 points, and Boise State is pretty good. So I don't fault. In fact, that's actually kind of an impressive loss. So I would agree with you probably on Marshall here.
Kansas State, Colorado. Kansas State could be better on the road. They're not very good, especially on defense. They forget to pack their defense, Wes. It doesn't come with them when they go on the road. This could be a problem because they're much worse against the pass than they are against the run. And what does Colorado do? They throw the ball all over the field. Kansas State allows almost 8 yards per attempt in the passing game. The Wildcats average the second most yards per carry. I'm sorry, I got that wrong with Marshall. It's Kansas State averages the second most yards per carry in the NCAA, second only to Army. And they have the seventh most rushing yards per game. So, okay, what's the game plan for a team that can run the ball against a team that throws it all over the lot? Run the ball, try to keep Shedeur Sanders on the sidelines. Colorado sucks at running the ball. They're going to throw it all over. The fact that this is in Colorado and K-State is not good on the road, and it could be a problem on pass defense for Kansas State. I'm going to take the points with the Buffaloes +4.5.
I agree. Yeah, Colorado, they're 2-0 at home this year. Shiloh Sanders, I think, is out at safety for Colorado, but I don't really care. I think, Dion, he's going to have his team ready to go here. I think it's going to be an all-out effort. I think they're going to hang tough. Just, like you said, K-State suspect on the road, but Colorado's great at home at 2-0. So, I mean, also the line movement, I got this at 4.5 earlier in the week, and it's at 3.5 now. So I got good value, and the line's headed toward the Buffaloes. So, yeah, I like Colorado.
Scott, where is it at Little Creek?
Well, there's actually a pretty heavy ticket count on Colorado money line. So people are willing to, they think that Colorado is just going to win outright. I think they don't even want to give up the points. And this was one of our heaviest bet overs, like just a landslide on the over on this one.
Well, Kansas State.
That's definitely.
Go ahead, Wes.
That's definitely public money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, the over in huge games like that, it's always public money. It's usually never short money.
All right, Wes, you got a couple of games, too, I believe, that you want to get out quick. Late college games tonight.
Yeah, I think we have time, too. I think they both kick in maybe an hour. Kentucky and Vandy. I like Kentucky. I'm going to lay the wood here. So just because Vandy, obviously they beat Bama, right? So this is just a gigantic letdown spot for them. I mean, they threw the goalposts in the river, for Pete's sake. So, I mean, it's the biggest win in program history. Now they got Kentucky coming in. I know that Diego Pavia had a great game, but is he really going to do that on the road at Kentucky? I mean, remember, Kentucky, phenomenal defense, number 6 in the country, only allowing 243 yards a game. Kentucky is off a bye, too. And normally I would say Kentucky wouldn't get up for Vandy. But don't you think, very similar to what I was saying about UCLA wanting to beat Minnesota tonight, because they want to beat the team that beat USC. Well, same thing here. Kentucky wants to beat the team that just beat Bama, right? Because then it looks like they're better than Bama. And talking about a team getting lucky today, how about Bama getting lucky earlier?
Oh, my goodness.
But I do like Kentucky. I'm going to lay the 12 with Kentucky. But, yeah, that Bama game was crazy.
All right. And your second, I believe you want to talk about Iowa State and West Virginia?
Yeah, so I like the under here. So Iowa State's 5-0, West Virginia is 3-2. Talking about the spreads, Iowa State's actually 4-1 against the number. So they're, what you like to look out loud. That's a pretty good stat there. So Rocco Bet, he's played well for the Cyclones. They beat Baylor 43-21 last week. He went 16-25, 277 yards, 2 TDs. He did throw a pick, but that was a season high. So he's kind of on the upswing right now. West Virginia, they beat Oklahoma State 38-14 last week, and they looked really good on offense. But despite both these teams actually looking good offensively, I think that's actually inflating this total. I think I got it at 53 earlier in the week. I didn't check what it's at right now, but I like the under here. So Iowa State, they're number 13 in the country, 271 yards per game allowed, which is pretty good. West Virginia, they only allow 130 on the ground, which is really good as well. So I like the under here. I just think it's an inflated total just because of the recent offensive success of both programs, and it actually sits still at 53. I like the under here.
All right, so the 4:30 games are getting ready to kick. You've got a couple of minutes to get to the window. Those are all of our late college picks for tonight. So if you have to go make a college pick, go do it now. All right, so we've got a couple of minutes left. We can talk a little bit about NFL. Let me ask Scott at Little Creek Casino Sportsbook first. Anything that is really lopsided that you're seeing on the NFL picks?
No, it's coming in sort of just where you would think that the money would come in on those. It nothing really has popped out yet, but we get people kind of wait. They're waiting for any last minute injury report, and we got them waiting at the doors at 8 a.m. when we open up, and then people like to come in and really hit it. So nothing of interest so far.
Well, there's two schools of thought, right, Wes? You're a guy that likes to get the early line. You look, if you see a line you like, you grab it Monday, Tuesday, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you just don't know.
Long. I mean, that's what professional bettors do. I mean, and I get that the public, they wait till 15 minutes before kickoff on the NFL when all the value's gone. And I understand, but that's what bookies want. They want you to get the line. They want you to get the closing line, not the opening line. And in fact, I mean, Scott knows about this. If you get a good enough opening line, you can hit the other side on the close and you can try for a middle, which that'll get you kicked out of some casinos. So, it's all about the closing line value and getting the best number you can.
I have actually done that a number of times doing live betting and going back the other way when the line explodes, especially in hockey. Live betting hockey is a lot of fun because there are often in hockey, there are really prohibitive favorites and really prohibitive dogs. And if the dog scores early, gets that first goal, or God forbid they get the first two, a line that is like minus 800 drops to like minus 200, and you can jump, or sometimes it even goes positive the other way, and then you can jump on the other side. And of course, it doesn't scare me if a bad team scores first 5 minutes into the first period in a hockey game. I see the lines go crazy, and I'm like, people are out of their minds. That's meaningless. I mean, there's going to be 5 or 6 more goals in the game. So anyway, something I like to do with hockey.
NFL, speaking of that point, I'll just add on to that, Loud. So I kind of like almost to do the opposite of what you do. Like, I like to take the dog, like in baseball or in hockey, if I can get like a plus 150 dog, right? And I cross my fingers, hope to die that they score first. The dog scores first, because then you're going to get the favorite at plus money. Then you're holding 2 tickets at plus money on both. So you're going to make money either way. Right. If you can
get that way, it works out well. Speaking of dogs, I've got 2 dog picks that I feel pretty good about tomorrow. One is plus 160 when I got it. The other is plus 200. I have no faith in the Cincinnati Bengals at all. None. And they have to go and play the New York Giants. Their defense is terrible. Now, I know the Giants aren't great, but the Giants showed me a little something against the Seahawks. And now Cincinnati, after losing that crushing loss against the Ravens, where they just put it all out there and scored 38 points or whatever it was, Joe Burrow went crazy, 350 yards, a bunch of touchdowns. I see their offense kind of returning to the mean against the Giants, and I think this is going to be kind of an ugly game. And I'll take plus 160 on the Giants. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I do like the over in this game. I'm actually looking at it. It's 46.5, which I feel is very, very low, to be honest with you, due to the Bengals defense being terrible, right? If Danny Dimes, or as I call him Danny Pesos, not Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
But their defense is terrible. So if he's going to have a get right spot, it's going to be this game. And then Joe Burrow, he's been going off with Jamar Chase, and they're going to have a good game too. So I like the over here on Sunday Night Football.
Right. Yep. And then the most maddening team in the NFL is the one that has the Garden Gnome at quarterback, and that is the Cardinals. And they can be great and they can be awful. And it all depends on whether or not the Garden Gnome goes off. I mean, it makes me insane to watch him play, because it's like watching a cartoon when he's back there. I mean, that run for a touchdown where he did like 2 figure eights in the backfield. And I want to hear the Three Stooges. I mean, it's something, Bugs Bunny, some kind of background when he's running around like that. And then he goes around the corner and he's 55 yards down the field for a touchdown. They are in Green Bay. Now, I know Green Bay is supposed to be a tough place to play, but it isn't this time of year. It's not going to be frozen tundra. It's going to be 70 degrees. I'm not great. I'm not high on Green Bay. They haven't looked great. And the Cardinals at plus 200, puncher's chance to win the game. I mean, if you want to really gamble, I think that's a good one, Wes.
Not mad at it. In Green Bay, they have the Texans on deck too. So, Jordan Love's kind of looking ahead to that matchup with CJ Stroud. So, yeah, Arizona could probably catch them in a look-ahead spot. And, I mean, I would probably definitely take Arizona plus the points. But it's probably not a bad idea on the money line, too. I could see them going in there. I mean, they just went in and beat the Niners last week, right?
Right.
So, yeah, puncher's chance. Why not?
Yeah. We'll need right now, depending on what money comes in tomorrow, but right now we need both Arizona and the Giants. So that'll be looking like a genius tomorrow.
Well, you don't go broke betting against the public money very often. Which is why there's those big hotels in Las Vegas that look like Paris and look like Las Vegas or wherever else. By the way, I just booked my trip to the SHOT Show, so I'm in Vegas for the biggest gun show in the world, as I am every year in late January, because I have a couple of clients that are interested in that stuff. So, and plus I work a lot with law enforcement, so I go and meet with departments there.
Did you see them? Did you see them implode the Tropicana for the new A Stadium going in?
Yeah, a lot of fun.
So yeah, should be impressive.
All right, Scott Keyport, Little Creek Casino. Anything to leave us with?
Go Hawaii. Like I said, I love those late night games. I love having something live on the TV.
All right. Wes is with us every Saturday and does college football and a little bit of NFL with us. We will be back tomorrow night as we are live every Saturday and Sunday at 4:15 Pacific time, 7:15 Eastern. Get you ready for the late games and the upcoming games the next couple of days. And man, is it great that there is football every night of the week now, with those Tuesday night and Wednesday night, MAC and SWAC and whatever games they are. Action. Plus, we've got hockey. Man, it is a great time of year, and playoff baseball to be a sports bettor. Lots of things to choose from to get your action in on. This has been Betting in the Break. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time on the same channel.